The massive ships moved through space like dark mountains floating among the stars. Each one was bigger than most planets' moons, covered in black metal that seemed to eat light itself. Sharp spikes jutted out from their hulls like the teeth of some ancient monster. These were the ships of the Vexthul Empire, and for 300 years no one had been able to stop them. Admiral Zexkara stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Dominion's Claw. His body was tall and covered in a hard shell that gleamed under the dim lights. 4 arms moved as he worked the controls, while his large black eyes watched the screens showing empty space ahead. Behind him, dozens of his crew moved around the bridge, their clawed feet clicking on the metal floor. "Sir, we are approaching the target system," reported his communications officer. The alien's voice made a buzzing sound when he spoke, like angry insects trapped in a jar. Zexkara looked at the star map floating in front of him. The system had 5 planets, and 3 of them showed signs of life. Intelligence reports said the creatures living there called themselves humans. They had only learned to travel between stars 50 years ago, which made them babies compared to most species in the galaxy. "How many ships do they have?" Zexkara asked. "Our scouts counted maybe 200 vessels, sir. Most of them are cargo ships or small patrol boats. Nothing that could threaten even our smallest warship." Zexkara made a sound that was like laughter, but much more frightening. In 3 centuries, the Vexthul had conquered over 400 worlds. Some species tried to fight back, but it never lasted long. Others just gave up right away when they saw the size of the Vexthul fleet. Either way, the result was always the same. The 12 dreadnoughts of Zexkara's fleet moved closer to the human system. Each ship carried enough firepower to turn a planet's surface into glass. The smallest of them was 3 miles long, and the Dominion's Claw was twice that size. When other species saw these ships, they usually started sending messages of surrender, before the Vexthul even asked for it. "Send the usual message," Zexkara ordered. "Tell them they have 1 hour to surrender completely, or we will destroy their worlds." The communications officer worked his controls, sending out the message. That had been used hundreds of times before. It always worked. Fear was the Vexthul's greatest weapon, even more powerful than their guns. On the 3rd planet in the system, a world the humans called New Denver, Colony Administrator Kate Morrison sat in her office reading reports. She was a woman in her 40s with short brown hair and tired eyes. Running a colony was hard work, especially one on the edge of human space where pirates sometimes caused trouble. Her assistant rushed into the office, his face pale with worry. "Kate, you need to see this right now. We just got a message from some aliens." Kate looked up from her paperwork. "Aliens? Are you sure it's not just another prank from the mining crews?" "No, ma'am, this is real. They're demanding we surrender." Kate read the message on her computer screen. The words were translated into English, but they still sounded strange and threatening. The aliens called themselves the Vexthul Empire, and they wanted complete surrender of all human colonies in the system. If the humans refused, the aliens promised to destroy every city and kill everyone living there. "How big is their fleet?" Kate asked. "Our long-range sensors show 12 massive ships. Each one is, well, they're huge. Bigger than anything we've ever built." Kate sat back in her chair and thought for a moment. She had been a soldier before becoming a colony administrator. She had fought in the border wars against pirates and knew what real threats looked like. But she also knew something about humans that these aliens probably didn't understand. "Send them a reply," she said finally. "What should I tell them?" Kate looked out her window at the colony below. Thousands of people lived there now, building new lives far from Earth. They had come, here looking for freedom and opportunity. They had worked hard to build something good in this empty place among the stars. "Tell them we decline their offer. Tell them to leave our space immediately." Her assistant stared at her like she had lost her mind. "Kate, they have 12 warships. We have maybe 20 security boats and some mining equipment." "I know what we have," Kate said calmly. "Send the message." Back on the Dominion's Claw, the communications officer looked confused as he read the human response. He read it again to make sure he understood correctly, then turned to Admiral Zexkara. "Sir, the humans have sent a reply." "Good. How long? Did it take them to surrender?" They didn't surrender, sir. They told us to leave their space." Zexkara's four arms stopped moving. His black eyes focused on the communications officer like lasers. What did you say? The humans refused. Our demand, sir. They want us to leave. For a moment, the bridge of the Dominion's claw was completely quiet. No one moved or spoke. In 300 years of conquest, this had never happened before. Every species either surrendered immediately or tried to fight for a few days before, giving up. No one had ever just said no and told the Vexthul to go away. Then Zexkara began to laugh. It was a terrible sound that made his crew step back in fear. They think they can tell us what to do? These primitive creatures who barely know how to build a proper spaceship? He turned to his weapons officer. Show them what happens when someone refuses the Vexthul Empire. Begin orbital bombardment of their largest city. The weapons officer's claws moved over his controls. Deep in the belly of the Dominion's claw, massive guns began to charge with energy. These weapons could crack open a planet's crust or boil away its oceans. Using them on a city would be like using a sledgehammer to kill an ant. Weapons ready. Sir, fire. Beams of pure energy shot out from the Vexthul ships toward the planet below. They were designed to cause terror as much as destruction, bright enough to be seen from space and powerful enough to destroy entire city blocks in seconds. But, as the energy beams reached the planet's atmosphere, something unexpected happened. The humans didn't run away screaming like other species usually did. Instead, their ship started moving toward the Vexthul fleet. Sir, the sensor officer reported, the human vessels are approaching our position. Zexkara looked at the display, showing dozens of small human ships moving up from the planet's surface. They were tiny compared to his dreadnoughts, like insects flying toward a giant. What are they doing? Unknown, sir. They appear to be attacking us. Zexkara watched in amazement as the human ships opened fire with their small weapons. The shots bounced harmlessly off his ship's shields, doing no damage at all. But the humans kept coming, kept shooting, as if they actually thought they could win. This is impossible, Zexkara muttered. Every species runs when they see our ships. These humans should be terrified. His tactical officer spoke up. Sir, human psychology reports indicate they may not understand the hopelessness of their situation. Then we'll teach them, Zexkara said. His voice was cold and final. Destroy every human ship. Show them what real power looks like. The Vexthul fleet began to fire on the approaching human vessels. But even as their ships exploded around them, the humans kept fighting. They used tactics that made no sense, attacking in ways that should have been impossible, and refused to give up even when the situation looked hopeless. For the first time in his long military career, Admiral Zexkara felt something he had never experienced before. It was small and barely noticeable, but it was there in the back of his mind like a tiny voice whispering a single word: doubt. Captain Jake Martinez watched his screens as another human ship exploded in the distance. The Rocky Mountain shook as alien energy beams passed close by, but he kept his hands steady on the controls. Around him, his crew worked at their stations, with calm focus even though they all knew they were probably going to die. Lisa, how much longer do you need? Jake called over the noise of alarms and weapons fire. Lisa Parker looked up from her workstation where cables and circuit boards were spread out like a puzzle. Give me 5 more minutes, Jake. I'm almost done with the quantum array. Jake nodded and turned back to his pilot. Tommy, take us behind that asteroid. We need to buy Lisa some time. The Rocky Mountain had been a mining ship before the aliens arrived. It was built to cut apart rocks and haul heavy loads, not fight in space battles. But Jake and his crew had learned to use what they had. The ship's mining lasers could cut through alien hull metal, and the cargo holds were now filled with explosive charges instead of ore. Jake, we've got 3 alien fighters coming in fast, reported Sarah Kim from the sensor station. I see them. Jake watched the enemy ships approach. They were small compared to the massive alien warships, but still twice the size of the Rocky Mountain. Tommy, remember what we practiced with the mining equipment? Tommy grinned and activated the ship's ore launcher. Instead of rocks, it fired a cloud of metal debris at the alien fighters. The aliens tried to dodge, but they weren't expecting this kind of weapon. 2 of the fighters flew right into the debris field and exploded, The third alien fighter fired. Back, its energy beam cutting a deep groove in the Rocky Mountains hull. Alarm screamed as air began leaking out of the damaged section. Hull breach on Deck 3, Sarah reported. Emergency teams are sealing it now. Jake felt the ship shake as more human vessels joined the fight around them. Colony Administrator Kate Morrison had called for volunteers to help defend New Denver, and almost everyone with a ship had answered. Cargo haulers, passenger shuttles, even personal pleasure craft were now fighting against an alien empire that had conquered half the galaxy. The humans had no chance of winning, and everyone knew it. But they fought anyway. On the bridge of the Foe, Dominion's Claw, Admiral Zexkara watched the battle with growing confusion. His fleet was winning, of course. Human ships were being destroyed faster than they could be replaced. But something was wrong with this picture. "How many human vessels have we destroyed?" he asked his tactical officer. 43 confirmed kills, sir. "And how many of our ships have taken damage?" The tactical officer was quiet for a moment. 7 of our escort vessels have reported minor damage, sir. And the destroyer Black Talon lost its main sensor array. Zexkara's eyes narrowed. Damage? From these primitive ships? The humans are using unusual tactics, sir. They appear to be treating this as some kind of game. They attack in ways that make no logical sense. On his screen, Zexkara watched a human cargo ship deliberately ram one of his fighters. Both ships exploded, but the human had managed to take out an alien vessel worth 10 times as much. It was a stupid trade, but it was also something no other species had ever tried. "Sir," the communications officer interrupted. "We're receiving a transmission from the planet's surface." "Put it through." Kate Morrison's face appeared on the main screen. She looked tired but determined, like someone who had made up her mind about something difficult. "This is Colony Administrator Morrison to the alien fleet," she said in a calm voice. "You have attacked our people without warning or cause. We demand that you leave our system immediately." Zexkara stepped closer to the screen. "I am Admiral Zexkara of the Vexthul Empire. Your ships are being destroyed as we speak. Surrender now, or we will turn your entire planet into ash." Kate looked at him for a long moment. "No," she said simply. "No. We will not surrender. We will not bow down to you, and we will not stop fighting until you leave our space or we're all dead." The transmission ended. Zexkara stared at the blank screen, trying to understand what he had just heard. Every species eventually surrendered when they realized they couldn't win. Fear always overcame courage in the end. But these humans seemed to have no fear at all. "Sir," his sensor officer called out, "I'm detecting an energy buildup on the planet's surface." "What kind of energy?" "Unknown, sir. It appears to be some kind of communication array." Down on New Denver, Lisa Parker finished connecting the last cable to her quantum communication system. It had taken her 3 years to build and was supposed to be used for scientific research. Instead, she was about to use it to call for help. "Jake, I'm ready to transmit," she said into her radio. "Good work, Lisa. Send it now." Lisa typed a message into her computer and pressed the transmission button. Somewhere far away on a planet called Earth, someone would receive her signal in just a few seconds. She hoped they would understand how desperate things were. The message was short and simple. "First contact, hostile aliens, need immediate assistance. New Denver colony under attack, please help." Back in space, Jake Martinez was running out of options. Half his crew was injured, his ship was falling apart, and they were almost out of ammunition. But he wasn't ready to give up yet. "Sarah, what's our status on those mining charges?" "We have 12 left, plus the big one in Cargo Bay 4. Jake smiled. The big one was special. It was designed to crack open large asteroids, and it contained enough explosive power to damage even an alien warship. "Tommy, can you get us close?" "To that big alien ship?" "Which one?" "The biggest one. The one with all the spikes." Tommy looked at him like he was crazy. "Jake, that's suicide. Their shields will fry us before we get within a mile." "Not if we come at them from their blind spot. Mining ships are small, and these aliens aren't used to fighting anything smaller than a battleship." Jake turned to address his entire crew over the ship's intercom. "Listen up, everyone. We're going to make one last attack run. It's probably A one-way trip, but if we can damage their flagship, it might give the other colonies time to prepare. The crew looked at each other, then back at Jake. No one said they were scared, even though they all were. Instead, they just nodded and went back to their work. The Rocky Mountain turned toward the massive alien flagship. It was like a tiny fish swimming toward a giant whale, but Jake didn't care about the odds anymore. The aliens had come to destroy his home and kill his friends. That was something he couldn't allow. "All right, Tommy," Jake said quietly. "Take us in." As the little mining ship accelerated toward the enemy flagship, Lisa Parker's message raced through space at the speed of light. It crossed empty systems and passed by distant stars, carrying news that would change everything. Somewhere in the darkness between the stars, something was listening. Something that had been waiting for exactly this kind of message. The response would come soon, but it would not be what anyone expected. The Iron Thunder came out of hyperspace like a knife cutting through silk. It was not like the huge alien ships with their spikes and frightening shapes. The human warship was smaller, built with sharp angles and smooth metal that seemed to eat light. Everything about it looked like it was made for one purpose: killing. Captain Ryan Cole stood on the bridge watching the tactical display. His ship had traveled from Earth in just 4 days, pushing the engines harder than they had ever been pushed before. The message from New Denver had been clear. Humans were under attack and needed help right away. "Status report," Captain Cole said in a calm voice. Chief Weapons Officer Amanda Foster looked up from her station. "We have full power to all weapons systems, sir. Nuclear missiles are loaded and ready. Kinetic bombardment system is online. Electronic warfare suite is active." "Good. What about the enemy?" Lieutenant Ben Hayes worked at the tactical station, studying the alien fleet on his screens. 12 large vessels, sir. The biggest one is about 6 miles long. They're using some kind of energy shields, but our sensors show weak points in their design." Captain Cole nodded. The Iron Thunder carried the best weapons that human technology could build. They had been designed for fighting other humans, which meant they were built to kill things quickly and efficiently. The ship's computer had already analyzed the alien vessels and found dozens of ways to destroy them. "Sir," the communications officer reported, "I'm picking up signals from the planet. It looks like the colonists are still fighting." "Any word from Jake Martinez?" "His ship was badly damaged, but he's still alive. The mining vessel is trying to make an attack run on the alien flagship." Captain Cole felt a surge of pride. The colonists had held out for 3 days against impossible odds. They had bought enough time for help to arrive. "Contact the alien fleet," he ordered. "Let them know we're here." On the bridge of the Dominion's Claw, Admiral Zexakara was watching the small human mining ship approach his flagship. It was moving slowly, trailing smoke and debris. The pathetic little vessel would be destroyed in moments. "Sir," his sensor officer called out, "I'm detecting a new contact, one ship approaching from the outer system." Zexakara glanced at the display. "Another human vessel?" "Yes, sir. But this one is different. It's much smaller than our ships, but the energy readings are unusual." Before Zexakara could respond, his communications officer spoke up. "Sir, the new ship is sending us a message." "Put it through." Captain Cole's face appeared on the screen. He was a human in his 40s with gray hair and cold blue eyes. When he spoke, his voice was quiet and completely without fear. "This is Captain Ryan Cole of the United Earthship Iron Thunder. You are attacking human colonies without cause. Leave the system immediately, or we will destroy you." Zexakara looked at the human captain and felt something like amusement. One small ship against 12 massive dreadnoughts. This human was either very brave or very stupid. "I am Admiral Zexakara of the Vexthal Empire. We have conquered 400 worlds. Your single ship cannot threaten us." Captain Cole's expression didn't change. "You have 10 minutes to begin withdrawing from human space. After that, we will consider you a hostile target." The transmission ended. Zexakara stared at the blank screen for a moment, then began to laugh. "Did you hear that? One ship demands that we retreat. These humans are completely insane. His tactical officer looked worried. Sir, should we be concerned about this new vessel? Our sensors can't get a clear reading on its weapons systems. It's one ship, Zexkara said with contempt. Destroy, and then finish off the mining vessel. I want this system conquered before the day is over. 3 Vexthul destroyers turned toward the Iron Thunder and opened fire with their energy weapons. Beams of pure power that could melt through mountain-sized asteroids shot across space toward the human warship. The Iron Thunder didn't try to dodge. Instead, it flew straight into the energy beams. But when the alien weapons hit the ship's hull, something incredible happened. The energy simply disappeared, absorbed by the human vessel's armor. Impossible, Zexkara whispered. Our weapons should have destroyed that ship. On the Iron Thunder, Captain Cole watched his tactical display with satisfaction. The ship's reactive armor had absorbed the alien energy weapons and converted them into power for the human ship's own systems. Amanda, show them what real weapons look like, he said quietly. Chief Weapons Officer Amanda Foster smiled and activated the ship's primary weapons. The Iron Thunder had been built to fight other human warships, which meant its weapons were designed to kill things that were trying very hard not to die. Nuclear missiles shot out from the Iron Thunder's launch tubes. But these weren't the simple, nuclear weapons that humans had used centuries ago. Each missile contained a fusion warhead, powerful enough to crack a moon in half, guided by computers that could think faster than any living creature. The missiles hit the 3 Vexthul destroyers at exactly the same moment. The explosions were so bright they could be seen from the planet's surface. When the light faded, there was nothing left of the alien ships except expanding clouds of radioactive gas. Admiral Zexkara stared at his tactical display in shock. 3 of his warships had been destroyed in seconds. In 300 years of conquest, the Vexthul had never lost 3 ships so quickly. How is this possible? He demanded. His tactical officer was studying the human ship with new respect. Sir, I think we underestimated these humans. Their weapons technology is far more advanced than we thought. Before Zexkara could respond, the Iron Thunder fired again. This time it used kinetic weapons. Chunks of metal accelerated to incredible speeds. They hit 2 more Vexthul ships, punching through their shields and armor like bullets through paper. The human warship moved between the alien vessels like a shark among fish. Every shot it fired found its target. Every weapon it used was more devastating than the last. The Vexthul fleet, which had seemed so powerful just minutes ago, was being torn apart piece by piece. Sir, the communications officer reported, his voice shaking. 5 more ships destroyed. The humans are using some kind of electronic warfare against us. Our targeting systems keep failing. Zexkara watched another of his dreadnoughts explode on the main screen. The Iron Thunder was doing something that should have been impossible. It was winning a battle against a fleet 12 times its size. How many ships do we have left? 6, sir. But 2 of them have heavy damage. Zexkara had been a military commander for 50 years. He had fought in dozens of battles and conquered countless worlds. But he had never seen anything like this. The human ship fought like it was alive, like it enjoyed destroying its enemies. Sir, his sensor officer called out. The human mining vessel has changed course. It's moving away from us. On the rocky mountain, Jake Martinez watched the Iron Thunder tear through the alien fleet. His crew stood around him in amazement, cheering every time another alien ship exploded. Lisa, are you seeing this? He asked over the radio. I'm seeing it, but I don't believe it, Lisa Parker replied from the planet's surface. 1 human ship is destroying their entire fleet. Jake smiled. Earth had sent help just like Lisa had hoped, but they had sent something much more dangerous than anyone could have imagined. The Iron Thunder turned toward the alien flagship, and Captain Cole's voice came over the communication system. It was still quiet and calm, but now it carried a promise of death. Admiral Zexkara, you have 2 choices. Surrender now or join your other ships. For the first time in his life, Admiral Zexkara felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. Admiral Zexkara stared at the tactical display showing his destroyed fleet. In less than 20 minutes, 7 of his mighty dreadnoughts had been turned into glowing wreckage. The human warship moved through the debris field like death itself, hunting for the remaining Vexthul vessels. "Sir," his tactical officer said with a trembling voice, "perhaps we should consider retreat." The word hit Zexkara like a physical blow. Retreat. In 300 years, the Vexthul Empire had never retreated from any battle. They were the predators of the galaxy, the species that made others run in fear. The idea of running from a single enemy ship was almost impossible to accept. But as he watched another of his destroyers explode under human fire, Zexkara realized he had no choice. "Send a message to the remaining ships," he ordered. "We are withdrawing from this system." On the Iron Thunder, Lieutenant Ben Hayes monitored the alien communications. "Sir, it looks like they're trying to run. 3 ships are changing course toward the edge of the system." Captain Ryan Cole studied the tactical display with cold calculation. He had read the intelligence reports about the Vexthul Empire. These aliens had destroyed hundreds of worlds and killed billions of innocent people. If they escaped, they would return with a larger fleet and humanity would face a war it might not survive. "Amanda, can our missiles reach them before they jump to hyperspace?" Chief Weapons Officer Amanda Foster ran the calculations on her computer. 2 of them, yes, but the flagship will escape if we don't stop it now. Captain Cole made a decision that would echo across the galaxy for generations. "Set course for the flagship. We're going to make sure none of them leave this system alive." The Iron Thunder accelerated toward the Dominion's claw, its engines burning brighter than stars. Behind it, nuclear missiles streaked through space toward the fleeing Vexthul destroyers. The aliens tried to dodge, but human weapons were designed to hunt targets that didn't want to die. Both alien ships disappeared in balls of nuclear fire. Admiral Zexkara watched his last escorts die and felt something break inside his mind. The Vexthul were supposed to be the strongest species in the galaxy. They were supposed to be the hunters, not the hunted. But this human ship chased them like they were prey animals. "Maximum power to engines," he commanded. "We must reach the hyperspace jump point." His engineering officer worked frantically at his controls. "Sir, I'm giving you everything we have, but the human ship is faster than us." The Iron Thunder closed the distance between the 2 flagships like a patient predator. It didn't rush or make mistakes. It simply followed its target with the calm certainty of something that knew it would win. "Sir?" The communications officer reported. "The human ship is trying to contact us. Ignore them." But Captain Cole's voice came through anyway, broadcast on all frequencies. "Admiral Zexkara, your ship will not reach the jump point. Surrender now and your crew will be spared." Zexkara activated his own communication system. "You cannot stop the Vexthul Empire, human. We will return with 1,000 ships and destroy your entire species." "No," Captain Cole replied simply. "You won't." The Iron Thunder fired a single missile. It wasn't nuclear this time, but something much more precise. The missile hit the Dominion's claw's engine section and exploded with surgical accuracy. The alien flagship's engines went dark, leaving it drifting helplessly in space. "Engine room is not responding," reported Zexkara's engineering officer. "We've lost all power to the hyperspace drive." The Iron Thunder moved alongside the crippled alien flagship like a shark next to a dying whale. On the human ship's bridge, Captain Cole studied his enemy through the view screen. The Vexthul vessel was massive and frightening, covered in spikes and weapons. It looked like something from a nightmare, but it was helpless now. "Amanda, target their communication array," Captain Cole ordered. "If they can't send messages, they can't warn their empire about what happened here." More missiles shot from the Iron Thunder, each one aimed at a specific target on the alien ship. The Vexthul flagship's communication systems exploded in showers of sparks and metal. Its weapons were destroyed next, followed by its defensive systems. Admiral Zexkara realized with growing horror that the human captain was not trying to destroy his ship quickly. The human was taking it apart piece by piece, making sure it could never fight again or call for help. "Sir?" his tactical officer whispered. "What should we do?" Zexkara had no answer. In all his years of conquest, he had never been in this position. He had always been the one with superior firepower, the one making demands, Now he was trapped and helpless, waiting for an enemy to decide his fate. The final missile from the Iron Thunder hit the Dominion's Claw's life support systems. Emergency lights flickered on throughout the alien ship as the main power failed. In the growing darkness, Zexkara activated his personal recorder to make one last message. "This is Admiral Zexkara of the Vexthul Third Fleet," he said, his voice heavy with defeat. "We encountered a human warship in the Terra Nova system. 12 dreadnoughts were destroyed by a single enemy vessel. The humans, they don't fight like any species we have ever encountered. They fight like they were born for war." He paused, looking around at his dying ship. "To any Vexthul who receives this message, avoid human space at all costs. We thought we were the apex predators of the galaxy. We were wrong." The recording ended as the Iron Thunder fired one last time. The explosion that destroyed the Dominion's Claw was visible from the planet's surface, a brief new star that faded into darkness. On New Denver, Kate Morrison stood on her balcony watching the night sky. The battle was over. The alien fleet was gone, destroyed by a single human warship that had appeared like an answer to prayer. Her communication device buzzed with an incoming message from the Iron Thunder. "Colony Administrator Morrison, this is Captain Cole. The threat has been neutralized. Are you in need of assistance?" Kate smiled for the first time in days. "Thank you, Captain. We have some damaged buildings and injured people, but we'll survive. How did you know we needed help?" "We received your quantum communication signal. Earth Command decided to respond immediately." "Just one ship?" There was a pause before Captain Cole answered. "One ship was enough." Far across the galaxy, fragments of Admiral Zexkara's final transmission reached other alien civilizations. The message spread from system to system, carried by traders and travelers who couldn't believe what they were hearing. The Vexthul Empire, which had terrorized the galaxy for 3 centuries, had been destroyed by a single human warship. Dr. Helen Ross studied the wreckage of the alien ships from her laboratory on Earth. She was humanity's first xenobiologist, and the recovered technology told her a disturbing story. Every spacefaring species they had encountered evolved on worlds where they were the dominant predator from the beginning. Humans were different. They had evolved on a planet where everything tried to kill them. They had learned to hunt, to fight, to survive against creatures stronger and faster than themselves. They had become the ultimate predators not through size or strength, but through intelligence and determination. Captain Cole filed his report with Earth Command. "Mission accomplished. The Vexthul threat has been eliminated. However, I recommend we prepare for additional first contact situations. Word of this battle will spread throughout the galaxy. Some species will want to test us, others will want to ally with us. All of them will fear us." The final message came from the Galactic Trade Council, a group of peaceful alien species that had lived in terror of the Vexthul for generations. "To the humans of Earth, we have received reports of your victory over the Vexthul Empire. We wish to establish diplomatic relations and offer our friendship. Please respond at your earliest convenience. We come in peace." The age of human isolation was over. The galaxy had learned that nothing intimidated the Vexthul except a human warship, and now everyone wanted to know what other surprises humanity might have waiting in the dark between the stars.